Okay, it's almost noon, Monday, March 24th, 2025. As always, we remind ourselves that if we trust our edge and our method, if we trade only the setups it gives us, and if we follow the rules, if we are patient, if we think in terms of weeks and months, never today or even tomorrow, then you will make a lot of money and live a life very few can afford. Do want to show I have two templates right now. This is my trading template. I am going to keep the 20 EMA on for the time being. Again, not using the EMA in any way to define setups. All trades are setups based on bars and the price action of these bars. So real quick, we have fixed price bar setups, such as the opening range break. So first 5 minutes is the opening range. We can buy above, sell below. MEBOB, fixed bar setups. Wait for MEBOB to close. Wait for a close either above or below the range. Trade in the direction of the close. Now we have price action setups. So here we have a big gap open, continued rally. The first pullback usually fails. So we're going to put a buy stop above the high of this bar. Buy stop above the high of this bar was filled on this bar. So the arrows are below signal bars. So the signal here is opening range. Your entry candles here. Price action, signal candle here. You would have entered on the following candle. This arrow indicates that this candle is also a signal candle. It's in fact a MEBOB long signal. So the entry would be this candle. And here, of course, we're buying the close. We're not going to put a buy stop above and waiting for it to get filled. Next setup would have been, we have this big bull breakout bar to new highs. This was the previous high day where my cursor is, the horizontal cursor line. Little 3-bar pullback. Wait for a bull bar, which was this doji. It's small body, but it's a bull body. Buy stop above the high. This one would have probably been break even or a small loss. Would have bought at 1150. Would have been stopped out at 1175 on this one. So basically a break even. And we're looking for another bull bar to be our signal bar. Here we go. Would have put a buy stop at 950. I'm going to say, in this case, my profit target, I would use the highest 5-minute bar close, which was 1375. So that's about a 4.25 point profit if it gets there. Would have been filled on this bar. So, and again, those are decisions you have to make before you start trading as part of your trading plan, so that you're not leaving anything up to discretion. So some traders on a bar like this, if this is one of your setups, if you're going to put buy stops above bull bars in obvious uptrends, you have to decide, are you going to take your profit at the high of day, maybe one tick lower than the high of day, or at the highest 5-minute bar close. I prefer to use highest 5-minute bar closes, lowest 5-minute bar closes for shorts. You don't know where price is going to go. Strong gap up, strong rally. This thing could make a measured move up, be up another 100 points before the end of the day. But again, I'm only looking for the high probability profit target. And that probability is what leads me to our discussion of risk reward. So, in this case, opening range break, I'm typically looking for a 10-point profit target. So, in this case, risk was $425. So that means that the risk was 8.5 points. So the range of the opening range was 8.5 points. I'll be putting a profit target at 10 points. So 10 points is $500 reward. Let's bring the calculator over so I can show you this. So if I'm looking for 500, but I'm risking 425, probably about 1.17. Yep. So 1.1, let's round it up. So it's a 1.18 reward to risk. I'm risking $1 to make $1.18. I'm risking $100 for a $118 profit. If you're trading micros, you'd be trading some number of micros that would create that for you. In this case, for the E-mini, well, it's the same thing. I'm risking $1 for every $1.18 potential profit. Now, let's go over. Now, let's think about this a little bit. So the entry would have been 84.75. Looking for a take profit at 94.75. So I would have been stopped in on this bar, and my stop loss is down here. In fact, the risk reward is actually much closer to 1-to-1 because my stop loss is a tick below the low, entry is a tick above the high, so 4.5, it's actually, 8.5 points. My risk is actually 9. So my risk is actually 450. So the true reward to risk is 1.11. And if you read all of these guys who want to keep posting in the systems thread, the price bump thread, about you need 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. If you use a lower risk reward, it's just not going to work. You're going to blow up. It's going to be a disaster, catastrophe. And I keep saying, no, that's BS. That's just flat out BS. And I want to prove it to you right now. So if you have access to Al Brooks's trading course, he talks about a few things. One of those is the trader's equation. I'm not going to go into the trader's equation today. You can probably find something for free in YouTube where he's discussing it. I would not listen to anyone else discussing it. If you can't find a video with Al Brooks discussing it, frankly, wait for me to do a video discussing it. Because I see so much misinformation on YouTube about Al Brooks. You got to get it right from him or from someone who actually purchased his course and then has spent probably close to 1,000 hours watching the 100+ hours of videos. But not only does he talk about the trader's equation, he distinguishes between initial risk, which is where does my stop loss have to be based on price action at the moment I enter a trade. So if you purchase on a buy stop above the high of the opening range, your stop loss has to be below. There's just no other place that makes sense, because if you get stopped into a long, price could come all the way back to the low of the opening range and then reverse higher again. So long as price remains at or above the low of the opening range after your long entry has been triggered, the opening range long is the setup to be involved with. You should be long. However, once the entry bar closes, your stop loss can now be one tick below the low of the entry bar, assuming that the entry bar closed higher than your entry. So now your stop loss is going to be 82 even. So let's look at what that looks like. So your entry was on the 84.75. Okay. So I'm going to do it on the calculator. You know, it's easy enough to do in your head. 2 3/4 point risk, right? 82. Did I do that right? Nope. Would have been, wait, maybe I did. 80, yeah, 82. So 2 3/4 point risk. So now the profit target's 10 points. Actual risk was only 2 3/4 points. So that's 10 points divided by 2.75. So now you're at a actual reward to risk of 3.64 to 1. So your initial risk is barely 1 to 1. It's just slightly on the positive side of the reward to risk ledger of 1 to 1. But the actual reward to risk on that setup, that particular setup, and we remember that every, as Mark Douglas says, every moment in the market is unique. Every setup in the market is unique. This particular opening range break today is unique among all opening range breaks. Now that doesn't mean it's the last time one will be profitable. Doesn't mean it's the last time we're going to have an opening range doji that gets broken. But all the particulars about all the trades that took place in here is unique. So our initial reward to risk was 1.11 to 1. We were risking $100 to make $110. Still better than the sports bookie's going to give you, right? You bet on an NFL game, you have to put down $110 to win $100, right? Here, it's the opposite. You have to put down $100 for the opportunity to win 110. But in fact, in this particular situation, on this particular day, your actual reward to risk was 3.64 to 1. So that is how they get you. They'll tell you that you need to have a 3 to 1 reward to risk. So you'll get stopped in here, your profit target. Now, in this case, it would have been filled. You would have made your 3 to 1 reward to risk. But most days, what's going to happen, you're going to get stopped in, you're going to be waiting for your 3 to 1, and price is going to reverse, and it's going to stop you out at break even, a small loss, or a full loss. The real 3, 4, 5 to 1 situations are the result of the market providing you a more favorable actual risk than the initial risk you had to accept in order to take the trade to begin with. And here you see we have not only would the, again, I would have been out long ago with a smaller profit, maybe 4. At this point, did we make a lower low anywhere? So low, 650, 750, 750, 1250, 1225. This may have been a stop out, which would have not been as favorable. Or if you used a fixed profit target of 10 points, you're still waiting, you might get it. But anyway, this is a bona fide Albrook setup. All of these are. And if you can learn to recognize them, well, this one is not. Albrook's is not a Bebop trader, this is ours. I'm not so sure Al really suggests the 5 minute opening range break. I don't know. I know he talks about trading the open. I'm not so sure. You know, I've watched it so many times and I just can't remember. But this is, I'm going to credit Blue Steel with this idea for the purposes of our thread. The me Bob, of course, was Rob Falk. And that was the inspiration for starting the thread. And then the other entries are Al Brooks entries. Here is one. I should put one there. I did mention it, but I did not mark it. So these are the entries we're looking for. Now here, a buy stop above here, your initial risk is about 4 points, but your actual risk was 2.5 or 3. Over here, if you bought with a buy stop above here, not a big risk if your stop loss is here. Probably Brooks would say your stop loss should have been under here or even under here until this bar closed or the bull bar closed. Again, these are what you have to define for yourself, but the setups are non-negotiable. Like this is a setup per hour thread. This is a setup per hour thread. Per hour thread, this is a setup. As is this, as is this, as is this. There have been no short entries today per hour setups. In order for us to get a short entry now on a day like this, we need to see a reversal attempt, preferably one that takes out a previous swing low, or at least has at least one bear bar closing at or near its low, and then a rally attempt creating either a micro double high or a more developed double top, a micro double top or a larger double top, but definitely needs some kind of price action to take place that would indicate that a possible top is in. Right now, this is a spike in channel. So again, if you were following Al Brooks's trading course, he would probably draw these lines in reverse, but I'm going to do them the way I had it. And you can see, just bringing this out, so the spike is the gap, right? It's a breakout. And then price, but right now it's in a very tight bull channel. Would expect before, rather than a reversal, would expect price to pull back to create a trend line. We don't really even have a trend line. I mean, realistically, we're really looking at something like this. This is a very tight bull channel. So this is the spike, continued spike. Here we have a bull channel. Again, could pull back, make a wider bull channel. Could develop into a trading range where we have better, more tradable bear swings and bull swings. But right now, bearish traders who prefer to short have had a very rough day today. Nothing but some small scalps, lots of break-evens, probably took some losses, somebody who's been trying to be a top picker all morning. But so that's that. Going to wrap it up here. But risk-reward, distinguish between initial and actual so that you no longer let yourself get fooled by these people who want to tell you that you need to, if you get long here, your stop loss is here, your profit target has to be here. If you get long here and your stop loss is here, your profit target has to be up here. because the probability of price making that type of a favorable move off of 5-minute bar entries is low relative to price making a 5-10 point profit target, testing the highest close, testing the current day's high. Those are more likely, but those are not going to give you 2, 3, 4 to 1 on your initial risk. But very, very frequently they will give you 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1 or better based on your actual risk. And that's what, when Al Brooks says you should be going for a minimum of 2 times risk, he himself often says he means 2 times initial risk. But I'm telling you, you're going to spin your wheels for years and years if you do that. If instead you pick fixed take profits, either based on ATR. So for example, we're still in a market where I think a 10-point profit target is reasonable. I would say actually a 6 to 10 point profit target is reasonable. Volatility is starting to contract a bit. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be on the verge of expanding. Typically it expands during the bear moves on the daily chart and it contracts on the bull moves. As of today, I would say the market is making an attempt on the daily chart to stop out bears, possibly switch to always in long. That I think is something subjective. You have to define it. If price retraces X amount of a bear leg, I will get long type of thing. No, I am not doing any swing trading, just making a comment there. But if you distinguish between actual risk initial risk and actual risk on your setups, if you use, for example, if you had just used a 1R on this, you would have had a profit of $437.50. Your actual risk, your initial risk was more than that, but your actual risk was $150, not even. So what looks like a 1-to-1 was really a 2.5 to 1, just going for that. So that's my 2 cents on risk reward. I know that it will probably not put an end to the other Forex Factory members coming into the thread trying to knock us off our game, but here's the thing, folks. If we trust our edge and our method, and if we trade only the setups it gives us, and if we follow our rules, if we are patient, and if we think in terms of weeks and months, not today, not tomorrow, we will make a lot of money. And as a result, be able to live a life very few can afford.